Hey everybody, and welcome back to the PictureMonk podcast. My name is Jordan Yance from PictureMonk.com, and thanks again for joining me and listening to the podcast. I very much appreciate it. And for this podcast, I basically want to do a little bit of house cleaning in the beginning, roll into some news articles, and then kind of go into the main topic again like I always do. So a little bit of house cleaning is, thank you guys for listening so much for the new In a Snap segment that is just only 2 episodes in, and it feels really cool to be able to release a regular podcast on Tuesday and then roll in a shorter podcast on the 2 days later on Thursday. It feels really good to do that, so it feels like I'm being able to keep in touch with you guys, even though you guys aren't necessarily communicating back all the time. It still feels good to communicate with you guys and get some more information out there. So the first thing I want to talk about real quick is I've noticed that a couple comments have come in, and you guys, a majority of that it seems, really like the idea of me talking about how to get certain shots and stuff like that. And that's great. I'm glad you guys like that because I listen for that too. I really don't care for podcasts much that talk about a whole bunch of gear and all that kind of stuff. I'm not really into that, but for a lot of the segments going forward, I think I'm going to start talking more about getting the shot and certain things that you can do, preparation that goes into getting certain photos, that sort of thing. So look for that. And if you guys do want me to cover certain things, what I've done is I have set up a link that you guys can go to, which is at PictureMonk.com/survey. And that will take you to a Google form that I have set up. And it's just a couple questions. I think there's about 7 or 8 or something like that. Just a couple questions that will help me put together a better podcast for you guys. And it's very simple questions. There's a couple fields where it's kind of like the essay form where you got to kind of type in some stuff. But yeah, if you guys could just go to that and just let me know what you guys think. And let me know what you guys want to have on the podcast, what you do like, what you don't like. Please be honest. I look forward to the honesty, and I very much appreciate that, guys. If you could do that, even if you're listening to the podcast way in the future, I'm still going to have that link going to the Google form. So no matter when you're listening to this, go ahead and head on over there and let me know what you think. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick one lucky winner. I guess I'm going to give it a couple weeks. And I'm going to pick one lucky winner and just email them a free copy of the PictureMonk presets that actually are still on sale, actually, if you want to pick those up. If you're listening to this on Tuesday, May the 5th, so Cinco de Mayo, if you're listening to this still on Tuesday, May the 5th, you can still pick those up until midnight at $9.99, so you guys can head on over there and get those if you haven't picked them up yet. That kind of brings me in my next thing. I woke up early Sunday morning. I'm recording this a day late, but I woke up early Sunday morning and noticed that someone had purchased the PictureMonk presets from Australia. So first person purchasing something from Australia. So if you were that person, I very much appreciate that, and thank you for doing that. So let's roll into some news articles that I found. There are some pretty cool ones here. The first one is called Brave New Camera. It's actually a documentary that is showing how the evolution of cameras is changing the way humans live. Basically, it's changing the way our lives work. And I'm going to put a link out there on PictureMonk.com/PMP025. And I'll put a link out there so you can watch the trailer for it. It's a new upcoming documentary that kind of looks at how cameras have developed over time, and now it seems like they're developing more and more quickly than ever. And there's just a bunch of stuff out there. It talks about how, I think it was it Syria or one of those places over there, and then the Middle East. I think it actually might have been China. It's one of those places where they shut off the internet just because people were sharing what was happening. I can't remember. Libya, I don't know, something. Vietnam, I don't know, whatever it was. They shut down the internet because people were sharing what was going on, not only just like on Twitter and stuff, but they were shutting down the internet so nobody could post photos or videos and stuff like that. And it's showing how photos and videos and stuff like that are disrupting the society that is the norm compared to what it should be. So it's kind of a cool little thing. It looks like it's actually a crowdfunded documentary, or it's going to be a crowdfunded movie. But it looks like they fell short on their goal. They wanted $45,000 crowdfunded money for the documentary, but they only got $4,500. So I think they're still going to make it, and I'll still put a link. I'll put a little description about that there too, so you can head on over to their site and see how it's going. It was actually an Indiegogo project. That's what it was. So, but yeah, it's a really cool documentary. It looks like it's going to be a really good movie if they actually get it going. So, like I said, head on over to PictureMonk.com/PMP025 and you can check out that trailer. All right, and the next thing I want to kind of talk about is the time lapse. There's a time lapse video that was done of retouching. Now you've probably seen a bunch of YouTube videos of people doing time lapse videos, them retouching models and stuff like that. They actually put out Petapixel actually has a couple on their site from photographer Elizabeth Moss, I believe. She founded Rare Digital Art. And it's a New York-based agency that kind of, that's all they do is kind of retouch photos for popular magazines like GQ, Vanity Fair, Vogue, stuff like that. And they put together a time lapse, several of them actually, that show the process of doing photo retouching. And she actually made a comment that a lot of people, look down on retouchers because they make stuff look unnormal and stuff like that, and look like it's too perfect. But she kind of made a cool statement here that says there's a couple videos where they actually add in details like pores in the skin to make the models look more realistic. So they are retouching, they are smoothing the skin, they are shaping the face, moving eyes and stuff like that. They are doing that stuff, but they're also trying to make it, real. And that's you can kind of see that when you watch the video. So they have about 3 videos. They have one that shows it's a 4-hour retouching session, and it's done in 90 seconds. So you can kind of see how it all works in 90 seconds. They have another one that's a 90-minute session down to 90 seconds, and there's another quick video that's brought about the same. And there's 3 different subjects, so you can check those out. Like I said, go to the show notes for that, and the PictureMonk.com/PMP025. I'm going to say it as many times as I can in this episode. But yeah, go there and you can see the videos for that. I'll post them there, and you guys can check those out. All right, and the last little news episode I wanted to news thing I want to talk about is I probably lied to you guys at the beginning of this podcast. I'm going to talk about some gear here, and I think it's something everybody should have. And I think I found it. Yeah, at Petapixel again, they posted something on here, and it's a lens that I think everybody should own. I'm actually going to grab one as soon as I get done recording this episode, and it's a Canon. Sorry, Nikon guys, but it's a Canon Super Telephoto 1200 millimeter f5.6 autofocus lens. I can't wait to get mine in the mail. The price, it might be a little steep for some of you. The price is $180,000. So not a lot of you be able to pick that up, but yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and grab mine. But as you can tell, I'm probably joking. I definitely am joking. But yeah, they had Petapixel posted an article, I guess, of B&H, I believe. Let me see. Yeah, B&H has actually had a used Canon telephoto 1200 millimeter f5.6 lens, L lens. They had it on their website for $180,000, and so it's a steal, and the condition is 9+, so it's a very good lens. But yeah, I just thought I'd mention that. The focal distance is 49.5 feet. So if you're trying to focus on something that's within basically 50 feet, you're not going to be able to get it. It has to be past 50 feet for you to be able to focus on it. So yeah, go to B&H Photo and grab yours. There's only one available, it looks like, but somebody might get it. But yeah, I just wanted to show that to you guys. You can see the ridiculously expensive lens in the show notes. So go ahead and check that out. All right, so let's get into the main topic, and it basically has to do with I'm going to highlight one photo that I took probably 2 years ago. Actually, I know it was about 2 years ago. that I really, really like. It's one of my favorites that I've had in my collection, and I kind of just want to roll over to, the what it took to get the photo, because it's not just a, hike up somewhere, take it, and come back down. It's not like that. But it's the photo. I'll put it on the show notes so you can check that out. The photo is actually called 6:32 a.m. And I named it that because that's the exact time that I took the photo. And so what basically happened was I got the photo on my honeymoon about two and a half years ago. I married my wife. We had our honeymoon in Isle of Palms, South Carolina, just a little bit away from North Carolina where we live. We drove down there and spent the last day, the whole day on the beach, basically the whole week on the beach. Did visit a couple places like Charleston and something like that. But on the last day, the last full day of our honeymoon, I got this photo, and it was kind of a chore. So when we first got to the place where we were gonna get set up for the week, I realized one important thing: I did not have my tripod. I brought everything. I packed my camera bag full. It had everything in it, but I did not have my tripod. And I was really disappointed because one of the things I wanted to do was get Milky Way shots, and the beach is a very, very good place to get Milky Way photos because, especially if it's coming out, over the water, it's completely pitch dark out there. There's no light pollution at all. So you can actually get a relatively low shutter speed and low ISO and still get some cool colors out of the Milky Way. So I was really disappointed in that. So when we first got there, we unloaded our bags. It was at night. Unloaded our bags and went right out to the store to grab some groceries for the week. And while I was there, I wanted to get a tripod. I wanted to get like the cheapest tripod they had, because I knew I had a good one at home, but I didn't want to, I didn't want to spend another $50, $100 or something on a tripod. So we actually just went to a Target, or Target as a lot of people would like to call it. And I went to their electronic section, and they had one of those, cheap $15 tripods. Didn't have a release on the back or on the top. It didn't have, you had to actually manually turn the tripod to get it to screw into your camera. The legs were not, they were telescopic legs, so you actually had to pull it out like a pointer for like a presentation. You had to pull the legs out. So if your camera was really heavy, the legs weren't going to support it. Luckily, mine wasn't. It was kind of bordering on the weight amount, so they stayed up a little bit. So I had to deal with that. And so when we got back to the house, I tested it out, and I was able to get it to kind of be steady. If the wind was blowing a little bit, it was just gonna blow straight over. Nothing was gonna hold that thing up for long. So, that was one downside. So, make sure you pack all your stuff, have a checklist. So on the last day, we were kind of walking on the beach, and there was a bend in the beach, and we didn't know what was around that bend. So we just kind of set out and walked over there, and, we kind of got to this place where we could see something off in the distance, but it was kind of far away, and we didn't want to walk, all the way down there. So we saw something coming out in the water. I told my wife I wanted to try to see what that was, because it might be some, point of interest that you can get, some foreground interest that you can get for your photos. So we went back to the house, and that was the night before that we were about to leave. And so we went back to the house, and I fired up Google Earth and just kind of went on Google Earth and found our location, and I zoomed around that bend, and I saw that there was something that looked, what I thought was, what I was hoping for, was like a shipwreck or something like that. Some pieces left over, some, like wood that's just buried in the sand and calcified and stuff like that. I couldn't quite tell what it was. So that's what I was hoping for, because I thought that would be a really cool interest. But I still couldn't tell exactly what it was, even all the way zoomed in. So I said in the morning that I'm going to go get a photo of that, and make sure I get some good shots, whatever it was. I'm going to try to get some good shots. So went to sleep and had the alarm go off at, I think it was 4:30. I made sure I was up before then. And so, I got my bag all set up and ran out the door, and it was pitch dark. I couldn't see anything out on the beach. Obviously, I was the only one out there. And so I just set out and just started walking along towards whatever it was. Still pitch dark outside. I tried to set up my camera to try to get some star trails, just to see if I could do something, but the tripod wasn't having it. So hiked out there, got to where the thing was, and it turned out it was large sandbags that were calcified, had stuff growing on them, and they were hard as a rock. They might as well be rocks. I stepped out on them, and they weren't moving. So I was like, well, let's see what we can do. If you were to give like a over the top view of it, it looked like a V going out into the water. It didn't go out that far, but it went out far enough to where it was, it wasn't sitting right on the edge. It went fairly far out. So got on the sandbags and just kind of waited around a little bit. It was still dark, and I was trying to figure out a good way to set up my camera. So as I was getting my camera set up, I was screwing in the tripod, and I wanted to try a vertical shot. I wanted to get a not a landscape, but a portrait style photo. And as I was turning the tripod, the head of the tripod just broke off. It was only $15, and I wasn't really necessarily surprised about that. But it broke off, and I was like, well, gosh, I have no clue. Because I want to get silky water. I don't want it just to be a regular water shot, or, just snapping a photo and there's water. I wanted it to be, I was hoping for like a minute and a half, maybe 2 minutes exposure time to allow the water just to be completely smooth. And so I had no clue what I was going to do. So, being the MacGyver that I am, or just being lucky, I basically just propped the camera up on the top of it and supported it with the lens cap of the camera. That propped it up a little bit, so I had to try to angle it down. But if I angled it down too much, it would fall. That sort of thing. If stuff was going to go wrong and trying to get a cool shot, this is what was happening. And so I would try to angle it, and I finally got it to one place where it would stay. And I didn't want to touch it. I didn't want to mess with camera settings anymore. So I just let it be, and just hope that I would get a good shot. And so I softly plugged in my shutter release cable because I didn't want to touch the actual camera, so I could just sit there and snap photos a bunch. And by that time, I can see the sun sort of peeking up a little bit. It still wasn't that great. And to be honest, the cloud cover wasn't what I was expecting. But it was better than just being, just a big ball. I didn't want a big sun ball. I wanted some clouds, but it was kind of more than I thought. So I waited for the sun to come up a little bit more. By that time, there were people walking by. I guess people getting ready to leave for the day or leave for the week. Were walking, trying to get the last glimpse of the beach. And so waited and waited and waited. Took a couple shots, test shots. And just kept waiting and waiting and waiting, and then finally, I snapped one that I kept looking at the back of the camera, and it turned out pretty well. There was a little bit of sea spray that was hitting the lens, and I couldn't wipe it off because my camera would just fall right off the tripod. So I just had to kind of get that done in Photoshop. I had to take that out. But if you want to go ahead and head over to the show notes again, you can kind of see what I'm talking about. And I tried to make the composition to where one little leg of the V was your leading line out to the point, and then you would still see the other half of the V in the photo. So it kind of looks like a flying V sort of. And the V sort of points to the sun that's coming up. You can't really necessarily see the sun, but you can see the effect of the sun having on the clouds. So I was really happy with that shot. It was very cool that morning. The color temperature was very cool that morning. So I played off that with the magenta tones. You can kind of tell that with the cool purple tones that are going on with that. I did a bit of sharpening like I always do to the photos to make the calcified section of the bag stand out a little bit more, but it blurred out the water along with the shutter speed. I believe the end shutter speed was I want to say it was 45 seconds or so. I believe that's what it was. Without pulling it up, I won't be able to tell, but I believe it was about 45 seconds or a minute, somewhere around there. But that allowed the water to be really smooth. It gave a little bit of streaking to the clouds, not much, but there was a good amount of streaking there. And so I just kind of played with that, a little bit of contrast, a little bit of clarity, and that's about it. That was a really easy photo in post processing, because everything was done beforehand. The research was done beforehand to go out there, get the shot, know what time I need to be up. Making sure the sun would rise. At maybe 6 o'clock, but I needed to be out there and set up by 5:30 or something like that. All the research and the prep was done just for that one photo beforehand, so I didn't have to hardly do anything in post processing, minus the sea spray, taking that out and doing a little bit of basic editing. So again, you guys can go check that out over in the show notes, and I hope you guys enjoyed that. I like hearing stories of other photographers, how they got their shot, and how the preparation of going into the shot and what they had to do. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. And I guess that'll be it for the episode. Again, thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for joining me. Again, head over to picturemonk.com/PMP025. I think I've said that 5 times this episode. So if you can't remember it, I don't know what to tell you. And also, thank you guys for purchasing the PictureMonk presets. It's really much appreciated. And if you have purchased them, please send samples that you've done. They can be low res samples. I don't have to have the whole image, but send low res samples that you've used with your photos and applied with the presets. Please send them on over to me. It's picturemonk@gmail.com. You can send those over to me, and I would love to look at them. I'll even put them on the website with your permission, and kind of give you credit and showing that you guys are actually liking these. So look for more to come in regards to that. I'm going to be adding more stuff to the shop. I got a lot of plans for that. So again, thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for rating the podcast and iTunes and Stitcher. Very much appreciated, and I will talk to you guys in the next episode.